Gary, it's been about 4 months now since you've been in the job. Been some amazing work in that time, but it now pretty much all comes down to these next couple of games. How much are you looking forward to? How much do you enjoy this little period where everything's on the line?
Yeah, I think if you start with a sort of 4 months, I think it's been a fantastic period. I've loved every minute of it. I think when you come to a new club, sometimes it's you hope that the players are receptive, you hope that the fans are receptive and get behind the team. And I think we've had all of that. I think there's been a real consistency with the team. It hasn't felt like that at times sometimes because we've won a game, lost a game maybe. But I think overall the points tally I think has been a really, really top effort from the lads. This is the end of the season, isn't it? This is a crescendo. This is where you got to go and earn your stripes. And for whatever reason, good results, like you're still in the mix and we've got to go and still perform. And I think that's the message. The message is we don't need to do anything that we haven't done already. We don't need to necessarily, be different to how we've done things, particularly at home. And we know the fans will be behind us. We know they'll be in great voice, and it's just about us doing our jobs really and getting it over the line, isn't it? However we need to do that. So, yeah, exciting. It's exciting, and I suppose there's a little bit of trepidation all at once because for everybody, we know the prize at the end of it is huge. Being able to build and go again, and being able to sort of try and get to the next level. But we've got to finish this one off first, haven't we? And like we say, it's other teams are making it a little bit interesting. That's all I would say.
Yeah, because since you've come in, the form table would have us in 10th position in the league. All sounds well and good, but it all comes down just to one or two games at the end of the season, which is just the cruel nature of football sometimes. But we've got such an amazing opportunity on Saturday, last home game in front of our own crowd against a really good opposition to create something really special.
Yeah, I think like you say, I think if you look at that form table over half a season, you would say to be sort of in 10th or top half is an incredible achievement from the players. From where we were, I think to get into that position, I think is an amazing effort from everybody, from the staff, from everyone around the club. What you can't do is you can't control which other teams get points, and the way the leagues work quite crazily, you would think actually we would have had more than enough by now to have solidified our position. But the way it is we're not quite there yet, are we? So yeah, look, we've got to just focus on Saturday. The following Saturday is just another game on the back of that, but we focus on this Saturday. Can we go and get it done? And we don't wait for other teams. I think that's the key. We get it done ourselves. We know Sunderland are a fantastic side, well coached, really consistent this season. Okay, they've known they're in the playoffs for a while, which sometimes is difficult as a team to. You're waiting for that. You just want the playoffs to start. I've been in that position. You want the playoffs to start. You want to get there, but we have to also appreciate they're going to be a little bit more relaxed. Maybe they've got less to lose. So we just got to get business done, and like I say, it's in our hands at the weekend.
Yeah, we know the strengths of Sunderland, but we've had a really strong home record, particularly against those teams at the top end, with a really spirited performance against Leeds. Of course, we defeated Sheffield United just before that as well. Are you expecting it to be a game which has to showcase that fight and desire and passion and willingness to stick in a game?
I think that and quality, what we've got to do is we've got to get back to as well playing with a little bit more control in some of those games. I think maybe we've come away from that in the sort of, not desperation to win games, but we've obviously used a long throw to our advantage, and some games we've relied on that a little bit, and maybe we've got to do a little bit the other side of a game as well. So I think the game is what it's going to be, which is we're playing against a very good side. They're a young side. They move the ball really well. We've experienced that a little bit, like you said, the Leeds game, the Sheffield United game. We've played against those top teams with top capabilities, but ultimately it comes down to who handles the game better. And we're at home. It's up to us to start the game well. It's up to us to create the intensity, and that's what we need to do. And I think that's been a hallmark of all of our good home performances. But yeah, I don't think there's any one thing. I think we need a complete performance, which is how you have to be to beat teams at the top of the table.
Yeah, we're in a position where it doesn't have to come down to Saturday with 2 games left, but I'm sure for the blood pressure and for everybody involved, we'd just like to get it done this Saturday.
It would be nice, wouldn't it? I think everyone's in the same mindset, aren't they? I think we felt after Sheffield Wednesday maybe we'd need one more result. We go and get that result at Cardiff, and then it looks like we're going to need one more result. So again, we want to put it to bed. But there's 2 games to go, there's all sorts of twists and turns. And I think what you've got to do is we've just got to be clear on what we need to do to try and win this game. We've got to be clear to know how we're going to handle different moments of this game. And that's our focus, I think. If it comes down to the last game, that's what we'll have to do. If we can get it done this time, then we're going to do everything in our power to try and do that. But like I said, you've got a team in Sunderland that, they want to get that momentum back for the playoffs. They want to create a little bit of a settled team for the playoffs, I'm sure. So we know how tough it'll be.
But no matter what happens on Saturday, the final home game of the season is always a really nice moment for the players, yourself, to have that connection with the supporters, particularly at the end of the game as well. Just how important will it be to recognise the support? As you were mentioning, that the strength of support since you've come in has been really amazing.
Oh, massively. I mean, I've got to say that, for it to have been so positive throughout nearly every game. I mean, I can't think of too many games. Maybe the QPR game at half-time where if I'd have been one of the fans, I'd probably have been a little bit disappointed. But, and that's normal. But every other game, I would say the fans have been absolutely incredible. The away fans, the amount of people that have turned up to cheer the team on. You saw that as a great example against Cardiff, where the fans are still cheering even at 1-0 down. And that is so important for the team. That's so important for me and the staff. It gives you a chance to keep going in games. It gives you a chance to try and do it for the fan base. And I think that's been a big part of the positives certainly I've found here at the club. The fans have been brilliant, and hopefully as well, I think they appreciate as well. But we said it before, sometimes in games we might drop a little bit short, but we'll keep fighting every game, and I think they've recognised that as well. They've been superb.
Perfect, Gary. All the best Saturday.
Thank you.